Come on, Call of Duty gods, grant me something amazing. Hit me with something good. No. Boots. Seriously? Seriously? Oh my gosh, that was hot trash. If you guys haven't guessed already, today is all about supply drops, and specifically Call of Duty supply drops and whether or not they're going to be within COD WW2 coming out this year. Supply drops in Call of Duty are a touchy subject, generally surrounded with a lot of negativity, and this Call of Duty right here was the first ever Call of Duty to include, believe it or not, supply drops within the Call of Duty series. So we're coming back to Advanced Warfare, baby. I want to know straight off the bat, as you watch this video right now, what do you think of supply drops in Call of Duty? Do you like the idea of opening up a supply drop after a game and getting something amazing, or do you just think they are hot trash and should be removed from Call of Duty forever? Well, today we'll be focusing on supply drops within Call of Duty World War II, focusing on two questions. A, will they return? And B, if they will return, how will they be done? Before we get into it, I want to do a shout out to you notification squad guys out there. Today's shout outs go to the Ali, Claire, and Evie Twitter account. Thank you guys. And also Najwan, all of you guys have notifications turned on. You're some of the first people in the world to watch my videos. And if you guys want to be shouted out at the beginning of one of these videos, just simply click that bell icon next to subscribe and you can be shouted out in the next video. So thank you everyone that's a part of a notification squad. Oh baby, they did not see that coming. I didn't see that coming. So a lot of games nowadays have the equivalent of supply drops within their games. For example, in Counter-Strike, you've got yourself skins you can unlock for your weapons. In Overwatch, for example, you can get character skins are hugely popular. And in Battlefield 1, you can get different camos and, again, skins basically for your weapons. So a lot of games basically have an equivalent of supply drops. It's very, very common nowadays. However, Call of Duty take it that little bit further by actually having physical weapons and DLC weapons that are better or worse than guns in the game that not everyone can access unless you get very lucky. So guys, let's jump back in time, take a look at supply drops in all Call of Duties thus far, and then talk about how or whether or not it should be done within COD World War II. So as I said, this game right here was actually the first ever COD to introduce supply drops, and it was Sledghammer Games' very first Call of Duty. And the more I think about it, and the more I mention this in these Call of Duty World War II videos, I'm like, geez, Sledghammer Games had no chill. They were like, you know what? We're going to chuck in anything and everything that we feel will innovate the game. That included boosting around the map with exo jumps. It included adding in freaking supply drops with bonus weapons. They went all out, Sledghammer Games. They had no chill. Now, the thing is, for this game, supply drops weren't the biggest issue in the world because there were so many, for those of you who didn't know, so many, literally hundreds of weapon variants within the game. And I'll show you them in a second, actually, because there are loads and loads and loads. But it meant that when you open up a supply drop, you're almost guaranteed at least one sort of weapon variant. Maybe not the best one in the game, but something new to use and give a go. And it meant that opening up supply drops is fun for everyone. Like, you didn't have to open up a million supply drops to get something cool and new. So it was okay, I'd say, when it was first added into Advanced Warfare. However, for me, the big issue really started to happen with Black Ops 3. I know it's my favorite Call of Duty game. Oh my god, Ali A is saying something bad about it. But to be honest with you guys, Black Ops 3 and supply drops, they're not the best match in the world. So don't get me wrong, I love the fact that there's so many great DLC weapons in Black Ops 3, but there's no weapon variants in that game. Either you get a weapon or you don't get a weapon. And actually, Black Ops 3 was meant to have no, like, additional gun content in the supply drops. Activision and Treyarch actually openly said that their supply drops would only have aesthetic items. That did not happen. They literally lied to us. Shocking, I know. And actually, the more we think about it, the more it's like, wow, they said that and then just completely went back on their word. I mean, me, I've literally, I know, put my hands up and admit, I've spent probably thousands of dollars unlocking guns within Black Ops 3 and still don't have quite all of them. It is expensive, and I always say the fact that the actual likelihood of getting those DLC guns is just minute, and it's way too low, man. For someone that's playing casually and opening up the odd supply drop every now and then, like, you're just never gonna get what you want unless you spend a lot of money. So this is an example of weapon variants in Advanced Warfare. The main weapon, the standard, and then you've got a few enlisted versions, which aren't very good, professional versions, and they can get better and better. You can get some really good ones. You can get, like, Royalty Elite, for example, but I didn't realize quite how many DLC freaking weapons were added to this game. There was a lot, especially that came out after its year's cycle, actually. I never got any of those. So after Black Ops 3 was obviously this year's Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, but then also Modern Warfare Remastered, it's worth noting as well. Infinite Warfare sort of went for a mixed bag approach. It had, like, weapon variants in there, a few DLC guns you can get as well. Wasn't really anything new, but actually focusing on Modern Warfare Remastered is what we should be looking at right now, because those guys actually did something great and actually really switched up and actually took a strong stance on supply supply drops as well, which hadn't really happened within Call of Duty before this. So obviously Modern Warfare Remastered is not meant to have really any extra guns in it. Like, if you want it to be an actual remake and a close, accurate representation of what the original COD 4 was like, then it shouldn't really have any new guns. But whatever, it has got new guns in there. And instead of being able to unlock them in supply drops, and I didn't actually realize this at first when they first came out, you can't actually get the DLC guns in Modern Warfare Remastered directly unlocked in supply drops. You actually have to go ahead. Oh, I just earned myself a supply drop there. Earning supply drops while playing is also a great idea, by the way. That should definitely return. If you want a gun in Modern Warfare Remastered, you don't just open supply drops and hope you get lucky. Well, you kind of do, but indirectly almost. You can actually work towards 6 items that will ultimately, once you've got all of them, unlock the DLC weapon. So you can actually aim for certain items to be unlocked. Oh my god, literally wall hacks. The greatest wall hack in the game. Holy cow. This is so OP, what the hell? So for example, if you wanted one of the new assault rifles in Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, you'd aim for all the 6 items that would ultimately unlock it in supply drops, or just use your tokens or your salvage or whatever they call it in that game to unlock those specific items. And then boom, you got yourself your DLC weapon. Haven't had to spend too much money, but still does involve a little bit of opening a supply drops. But it's a unique like version of getting DLC guns that hadn't been done previous to this. And I think it definitely needs to take a lot of like inspiration, a lot of ideas from that if they want to include supply drops in COD World War 2. So let's get to the actual question, okay? So we just discussed it's been a mixed approach really across the board, starting with this game and then working all the way to Modern Warfare Remastered. All the developers have taken a slightly different sort of approach towards how supply drops should work. Now, obviously, these guys made this game right here, Sledghammer Games made Advanced Warfare, so we can assume that things are probably going to be most similar to Advanced Warfare. And I come up with a formula that I think, personally, you guys can let me know what you think down below, will be a good way of keeping supply drops in Call of Duty World War 2, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to answer it right here, it is almost 100% going to have supply drops in it. There is almost no way that they're going to take it out the game. Those guys that do not know, the actual monetary sales and the money made from microtransactions like buying supply drops in Call of Duty far outweighs the money they make just from the disc copy sales of the game. So Activision, they like making money, and they ain't going to turn around and take out their big money maker from the latest Call of Duty. So supply drops, guys, they're almost 100% going to be returning unless something stupidly crazy happens, and it doesn't. So if supply drops are coming back, how should they do it? This is just my personal opinion. Feel free to chime in down below in the comment section. Personally, I think they need to have weapon variants in the game. And they did it with this game. It was the first Call of Duty they did. And I'm pretty sure they could do it again if they have a little bit of creativity. And despite the fact that we are locked into World War 2, this is multiplayer. You know, it's a little bit more lax in multiplayer. Throw in loads of variants for each of the weapons. So whenever anyone opens up a supply drop, doesn't matter if you only open up a few every week, you're probably going to get some sort of new weapon to mess around with, even if it's only like an enlisted basic version when you open up a supply drop. I think that's important because it keeps it interesting, keeps it active, even for those guys that aren't spending a lot of money on a supply drop, which is important. And then second of all, if you're going to add in DLC guns, which I'm almost 100% sure they will as well, then make it so that you can go ahead and craft them. And a little bit like camos, I think it's probably the best way to sort of compare it. A little bit like camos, we have to go for a certain number of headshots, certain number of specific kills to get yourself a weapon. They should do similar sort of challenges to unlock DLC guns as well, so you can feel like you're actually playing the game for a reason and getting closer to that goal of getting that weapon that you want. I think that's really important. I mean, personally, I'm not a huge fan of grinding out for camos. I just sort of play, and if I get a camo, that's awesome. But if I knew I could guarantee myself a DLC weapon by playing in a certain way and then doing certain challenges, I would definitely do that. And then finally, and this is probably going to happen anyway, it doesn't really need to go without saying, but you need to get the weapons directly in the supply drops, which is a little bit different to how Modern Warfare Remastered did it, where you can't get the weapons directly in supply drops unless they're melee. You have to craft them. I think it should encompass everything. Weapon variants, it should encompass craftability, and of course it's that luck factor of getting them, because guys, trust me, supply drops are not going anywhere when it comes to COD World War 2. We'll have to hold off on official information, but fingers crossed, whatever Sledghammer Games decide to do with COD World War 2 when it comes to DLC weapons, when it comes to supply drops, they're sensible. I trust you guys, and they innovate in a good way. So guys, supply drops will almost definitely be returning. Just brace yourself for that. But as a community, hopefully our feedback and everything that's happened in the last few years can shape and mold supply drops to be better than what they've been in recent years. So guys, thank you for watching. You've been amazing. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit that notification button to become part of the notification squad. You can be included in the beginning of next week's video, which is exciting. So, see you guys very soon.